afternoon, morning, noon, night, wherever you are watching this. I am Tanjanika Lewis, better known as Tanjanika the author, and you have stumbled upon or purposely came to my YouTube channel. If it is your first time here, welcome. So happy to see you. Not see you, but see you. If it's not your first time here, welcome back and thank you for clicking on my face again. Now, if you want to see my face on your screen every Thursday, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit that bell next to it so that you'll get notifications every time that I upload. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the video. As you can tell by the title of this video, this is 5 tips to improve your writing. Now, I already know you AuthorTube veterans are rolling your eyes and you're saying, yet another tip video. Tan, really? Listen, I just want to share what has worked for me. That's it. That's all I want to do for the new people that may not have watched all 847,000 of these tip videos. You never know. So I just want to share the tips that have been working for me as far as improving my writing goes. Let's go ahead and dive in. Number 1, it's an oldie but a goodie. Simply said, write. That's what's been improving my writing. Writing. You don't have to start off writing a book straight out the gate. I recommend journaling. Journaling is also a really good way to find your voice, because you're not really thinking about telling the story. You're just pouring out the words. You're just letting the words pour out of you onto the page or onto the keyboard or onto the screen, wherever it is that you keep your journal. So I recommend journaling. If you have a couple of short stories that you would like to write, go ahead, write them. Put pen to paper, put fingers to keyboard, and go ahead and write them and get them out. And that is the first step in improving your writing, is to write. The second step is to, drumroll please, read a lot and read everything. Now, hear me out. I know we all have our genres that we like, that we love, that we're comfortable in, our go-tos. I have my own. But I'm asking you to stretch yourself and step outside of your comfort genres and read something that you're not quite comfortable with. I actually stepped out of my comfort genres a couple of years back and started reading psychological thrillers. Changed my life to the point where I actually wrote one of my own. The only genre, I won't say the only, but one of the genres that I've been hesitant to step into is the historic romance. I'm not really into history all that much, but I did see Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I'm interested. And I know that the Abraham Lincoln, I think it's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. I can't remember the exact title of that movie, but I know that it's a book. So I think I might pull the trigger and go ahead and read those, pun intended. Yeah, just to step outside of your comfort zone. And the reason why I'm recommending this, or why it's on the tip list, is because it exposes you to a different way of telling stories. If all you write is young adult novels or books, and all you read is young adult novels and books, then that way of telling stories is the way that you're going to tell stories. But if you expose yourself to other ways of telling stories and different types of stories, it could actually vastly improve the way you tell stories in your chosen genre. Now, I'm not a writer that is confined to a genre, because out of the 3 manuscripts that I have written, I've written a contemporary romance, I've written a psychological thriller, and I've also written a fairy tale retell or a fairy tale retelling. None of them are in the same genre. So I have no genre loyalty. Please don't crucify me in the comments. But I recommend reading outside of your genre just to expose yourself to a different way of telling stories. And then ultimately, it will improve the way that you tell your own stories. Tip number 3, I would say, is ask for outside input. Don't hurt me. I know it's scary to let other people read your writing, especially when you feel like it's not ready. And writers, veteran writers, you guys know the story is never ready. It's never really ready. But pulling off the band-aid and letting somebody else read your stories and give you input on them, it can improve your writing. They can see things that you may be blind to. I know when I let my best friend read my first manuscript, she actually pointed out that I didn't describe any other character other than my main character beyond their height. And my best friend and I, we vary vastly in height. I am 5'9" and she is 5'3". So someone who is 6'2" to me is really not that big of a person, where to her it would seem like he was a giant or she was a giant. And she says the perspective and the description of the characters would help her to envision them and then help her sink deeper into the story. After reading my manuscript myself, I completely agree with her. So, getting some outside input is a good thing, guys. Just rip the band-aid off, let somebody else read your work, let them give you some pointers on how you can improve. Now, tip number 4, maybe a little bit easier. Tip number 4 is when editing, so once you've written something, be it a journal entry or a short story or your first manuscript, when editing it, note your shortcomings. Write them down. One thing that I noticed when I read my first manuscript, I noticed that I wasn't very aware of the scenery around my characters beyond just general location. For example, the main character of the first manuscript that I had written worked in an office building that's located in downtown Atlanta. I never said where the office building was located. I never said anything about traffic, about the weather, about how it felt outside. I didn't describe any of those things. I simply said she came in, parked in her parking spot at her office building. Not like that, but basically that's what I said. And that was it. That's the only scenery description that I gave. Now, am I saying that you have to go into full sensory overload describing the scenery in your books? No. But I could give a little more just to pull the reader further into the story. And that's what I noticed when I read my first manuscript. So I made a note by it. And then from that point on, I would say it's been almost a year. It's been almost a year since I finished my first manuscript. It's in editing round 8. So, but anyway, I digress. After noting that, seeing that was a writing weakness of mine, I made it my business to read books that had very vivid scenery descriptions in them, and I made notes as to how that author described the scenery around them, whether they said things about the weather, whether they gave geographical locations as far as what state, what city, did they describe the noises around them and things like that. And then I went back to my manuscript and I edited, and when I was editing, I added those things in. So that brings me to the second part of point 4. When you're editing, write down your shortcomings and then research them to develop them. When I say research, I really just mean read writers that have mastered what it is that you're trying to master. If you don't know any writers that have mastered what it is that you're trying to master, Google takes no days off. Just Google it. Great writer of scenery. Guarantee you they'll have a list. Google has a list for everything. So, that's tip number 4. And tip number 5, drum roll please. Write often. That's tip number 5. Write often. You have to put pen to paper. You have to put fingers to keyboard often in order to get better. There's no other way for you to get better. You can attend all the seminars you want. You can attend all the conferences and retreats and classes. But if you don't put pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, you will not get better. You can pay someone to teach you, but if you don't actually put it into practice, it's a moot point. So, those are my 5 tips to improve your writing. These are 5 tips that I recycle often while I'm writing. And if you enjoyed this video and you are new to my channel and you stayed all the way to the end, first of all, give yourself a round of applause for staring at my face for this long. And then go ahead and click that subscribe button. I mean, you've been with me this long. Might as well see all the rest of my videos, right? And I will be on your screen every Thursday. For now, anyway. So, go ahead, click that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell button next to it so that you can get notifications when I have uploaded videos. I am Tanjanika Lewis, better known as Tanjanika the author. If you want to watch another one of my videos, just click in the cards up above for my last video. And I will see you in the comments. I will see you next Thursday. And I will see you at the turn of the page. Bye.